Hello, everyone. Today I'm chatting to another beautiful soul, Alpa, Soni, and it's actually our take two. So we're going to do this today. Alpa, welcome. Yes.
Take two, second time lucky. First the worst, second the best, as they say. So thank you.
Yes, I really am excited for a chat again. And to immediately dive in, you last year really stepped into your power by raising your voice. And that's actually how I got to know you online, because you were really standing for your truth. And we connected on Instagram and yeah, I think we both have this warrior spirit in us and see the bigger picture. So it's lovely to finally be chatting with you.
Yeah, I know. And the first time we spoke was amazing. But I think, both being very sensitive to the energies around this is a testament to a lot what's going on in humanity. Yes. Standing up for your truth, raising your voice, knowing that I had a voice, a year ago. I wouldn't have even said boo to a goose like publicly, But yeah, you find you're navigating your way in humanity at a time that I feel is necessary. Yeah. Yes. I wasn't very compelled to just be shouting on social media unnecessarily for me in the trajectory of my life. Yes. But then given what's been going on in this last year, and it is almost coming up to a year, because 18th of March for me was a very pivotal day. Shortly, my aunt had caught the virus. And, at that time, everybody was like, oh my God, we don't know what's going on. And sadly, about 3 weeks later, she passed after having been put on the ventilators. And I started questioning the narrative of everything that was going on. This is my father's sister. She was very young. She was in her late 50s. And, I started this journey with that kind of, wow, so close to home. So it made me inquire. And then you go down what they call, commercially the rabbit hole. And one thing led to the other. And here I am. So have I been a professional truther? Hell no. I've just lived my life, suburban life here in the UK, minding my own business, doing what I do, working in the financial services, or was, because I've lost a few contracts doing what I'm doing. But as you say, stepping into your power. How does that happen? What forces you to do that? I use this terminology of crisis being a blessing for us, whether we choose to see it or not. And for me, there's been so much wisdom gained from what we may seem or deem to be our painful moments, because it works as a catalyst for us to, really either empower ourselves or live by a negative narrative.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
So basically, last year was the start of that, and then one thing led to another. There was no manual. I didn't have a menu or a manual to say, right, this is the way to go. This is what you need to do. And none of us do. We're finding, the rhythm of our own soul in this movement. We are, dancing to the rhythm of our own beat, and wherever that takes you, it takes you. We're just finding our own purpose, our own mission, and here we are, and we get to speak to beautiful souls like yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you're so right, and also. And embracing that, like I often say, your truth is your medicine, and it starts obviously with your own truth in terms of your own healing journey. But then in the bigger picture, in the collective, it also really is there standing for the truth, how you see the world and observe the world. And well, we spoke about it already, but how was that for you to initially step out of that comfort zone in a way, maybe even with a shaking voice, to really stand for that publicly? Because that's quite difficult.
Yeah, very. I mean, and I'll say this because difficult, not because I was concerned about the outside noise and the opinions or views. It was just this overwhelming anxiety that I have been ridden with since I was a kid. and due to what I now know to be some unfortunate health conditions. And that was causing this confusion and disorientation in everything that I was doing. And I am working on it. It's healing it's progressive, you know, it's a day-to-day thing. And as I told you when we were speaking off the record, that, you know, these were the things that were debilitating for me. And then the thought of speaking in public when I could barely string a sentence together sometimes, it was like, oh no. However, it's this, what we say in Sanskrit, Shakti, strength, inner goddess, warrior strength that we all have. And it gets ignited somehow, some way. And again, through what you said earlier, the you know, being empowered through some of our most difficult times. So coming onto this truther arena, for me, with what I had learned, there was no question about me wanting to like raise my voice. I didn't even think about all these debilitating things. You know, suddenly I was there and I did not give a shit what anybody thought. And I say that with not meaning to, you know, say with this a sense of profanity. It's from a sense of like, wow, I surprised myself. Because let's think about it. Like worldwide, there was this phenomenon, the anti-Trump, the anti-Trumpers and the Trumpets. And where we are now, it's very clear there's a huge divide in humanity, where people sit in the geopolitical arena. And then, you know, I came into this movement learning about the atrocities that happened and are happening and have happened to the children. And it floored me. It completely floored me initially for the first 3 weeks, where I couldn't even get out of bed. And people who followed my journey know this. So sorry if I keep repeating myself here. But it floored me so much to the extent where the noise of and the opinions of people outside didn't bother me. So what did I do? I just started talking with this sense of determination that, right, what can I do to change it physically on my own? Right now, nothing. But what can I do is to talk about it. And that is going against the status quo and what everybody thinks, or what the general herd mentality is, on the geopolitical arena, and then it being conspiratorial, right? That, you know, what you're aligning with being conspiratorial. So you're having to take on this kind of negative energy around the people around you, and it's usually your closest ones. So as I evolved in that, I just became stronger and stronger. And why? And that's simply because I had started sorting my crap out before, and I genuinely was so disgusted by everything that it deserved the attention that I think worldwide it's getting, slowly but surely.
Very slowly. Yes. And I think a great advantage is for people like yourself and I, that we started the spiritual journey of healing and reflecting and really facing ourselves in the mirror and with our shadow sides and our lights already way beyond last year. If I remember correctly, you are on this journey already for well over 10 years. So that also gives you a different start comparing to these people who see things unfolding since last year and then also need to deal with this if they want to. Obviously, a lot of people are still in denying, but also look within. Because only when we start to heal, every single one of us, we're going to shift the collective. And that's very, I think that's very challenging for a lot of people to face.
Yeah, you're right. You know, it's going within, which is something that's proving to be an arduous task for most. And why is that? Due to overconsumption of absolutely everything. We're overly consumed in an overly consumerized society in absolutely every way. Is it our fault? It's what we've been bombarded with, and it's the trajectory that society moves in, right? So the spiritual journey, yes, I started, I'd say unknowingly 10 years ago, because it was what the truther pundits label as the dark night of the soul. And I went through some of the most horrendous experiences that I wouldn't wish on anybody, and that I just look at in gratitude, because it showed me my inner resolve and the resilience that I have, and a testament to the character that I am. So when you're put in those situations, did I absolutely get it right? No, I went off the rails as well. But I needed to go there to really understand from an inner plane that like it's serving its purpose for me now, here, today, in the movement we're in humanity, because this is a window of time where humanity has never been, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have never been this close to the revelations that we have. This is an information war. We are privy to the most information that we've ever had at our fingertips. And it's so incredible how people have become so desensitized, and that's due to a variety of things. We're just desensitized because of what has been churned out to us and how we've been churned out through the academic echelons and the academic fraternities. So we sit here and we are inadvertently somehow like we're judging ourselves, yeah, you know, judging ourselves internally. Not everybody, I'm just saying. We are not taught how to empower ourselves, yeah, through through the academic fraternities. We are actually taught perhaps to subordinate and to and this is what's happening now, because it's that herd mentality. Yeah, it's that herd mentality that's going on, which is the difficulties right now. So it's through these dark night of the soul experiences that equipped us now within this spiritual awakening, or whatever you want to label it. But it's the wisdom. It provides the wisdom. Like I said, crisis is a blessing in the future.
Yes,
if any of that makes sense.
Yes, and it's like what you said as well. It's that judgment for self. Like what a lot of people, there's so much duality and so much people actually opposite each other right now, and you're judging. But people don't realize when you judge somebody else that you're judging still a part within you that you have not fully accepted. And
Absolutely.
it's only when you start to embrace all aspects of self, when you're able to do that, then you can start to look and feel beyond. So that's so accurate in that journey. I always call it the journey of remembering, because that's all that we do. We remembering who we truly are instead of working towards something.
Yeah, and that's the script we're all on, right? Back to the as my good friend Lucy calls it, the self-love club. Yeah, we're going journey back to the self. And I like that, poignantly put. We are remembering who we are, and the evolution of our soul, where we are within our own soul script, and identifying with the I am. Who am I? And this consciousness, this high level of consciousness, is where I've been going, where I've been like internally and analyzing, like, oh my God, like my questioning everything, questioning my existence, questioning my past, questioning it all, not from a place where it's a hindrance to my life, but just understanding how everything has been interconnected, interwoven to it being perfectly okay in the here and now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you're looking at your experiences as a witness, as an observer, rather than a victim. You're looking at things, what have ever happened to you. You signed up for all of this in this soul journey. We, as in not you specifically, but we signed up for this journey.
Absolutely. I honestly, it's for me, it's knowing that before we start this human experience, we decide on which lesson and experiences to go through. And like that are our teachings. Once we realize that, that's when we step into our purpose. And we can only do that by being in the now, because there's only now. If you think about it, there's only now. Everything is playing out in the now. But I think that whole concept also that the other is you and that we are all connected, it's so difficult for many to really understand. And then I mean to feel it as well. There's one thing to understand it in your mind. It's another thing to really feel it and make that feeling and knowing. And once you get that, then you also know that as long as this darkness is in the collective, I carry this darkness within, because the collective is also a reflection of me, same as my whole life. And that's where we're going back to how powerful we are, because we are the magic. We are the creators. We are the goddess. So that whole process, it's such a beautiful journey. And I think for many at the same time, it causes so much confusion just already for your own healing. And then we also now, like with the corona, the crowning last year, tapping into the world, that becomes clearer to many, like the world that we have actually been living in, and that because of the, like you mentioned, the mind control and the programming, and that we couldn't tap into that because yeah, we have been fools for many generations, on and on and on, and it's a hard pill for a lot of people still to swallow, that really is the case. And I'm very curious how this is folding out eventually for still a lot of people and souls.
Well, it was this duality. It was this polarized way that I feel I was living in without actually accepting or embracing what was going on with circumstances in my own personal life. So, you know, like I said earlier on, no one gets a manual as to how this is, but we can have that intention to grow, that intention to heal. And the universe will subsequently always support you when your intention is congruent with what your soul journey is. And it's calibrating that to be in a centered space of time. Was I like that? Heck flipping no, right? It was this bipolar or this duality or this imbalance between where I wanted to be and what I was not facing internally. It's the muck inside that I wasn't facing. So 10 years ago, when I went through the dark night of the soul, and then thereafter, the trajectory that those lessons unfolded. Now, when I look back, you know, it's even over 10 years. It's 12 years actually. It started in 2008, and it's actually interesting what happened then as well on the planet. The 2008 crash. Being in financial services, for me, you know, I really got hit badly by that, the 2008 crash, and there was so much going on. And I have always been a spiritually inclined person from a very young age, very sensitive and empathic to other people's energies, for sure. And, you know, it's this intuitive compass that's guided me in life without this kind of academic knowing of why I think what I think, or, you know. But it's this duality that taught me so much about myself. And how did that happen? Through experiences, through how I responded and reacted through those experiences, be them good or bad. And then discerning and actually evaluating within, where am I? Where is this charge? What are these charges having on me? How are these charges in my life? So a lot of the times I'd find I'm here being sensitive, you know. And it took me a long time to actually realize that this is not so complicated, you know, back then. Yeah. And it was this unfolding of many experiences in this journey to actually synthesize those two opposites, to come to a state of neutrality and acceptance, and act more so as a witness and an observer to your thoughts, to how you're feeling. It's not about not feeling, because I'm all heart. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And, you know, where was that actually like causing me trouble? So it's balance. That's the key. It's the balance, and it's that it's embracing the two with no internal judgment, because that's where we are. Yeah, with no internal judgment, and that's where the self-sabotage happens. And I didn't realize that I was actually getting in my own way, right?
Yeah.
So getting in my own way was. We can sit there and we can proclaim. And as my mom says to me, she's like, you know, Alpa, you know, when you point one finger at somebody, there's three pointing back at you.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I was like, I just didn't get what she would be saying, you know, initially, but when I was younger. But I just thought, yeah, it's true. There's one pointing back at you, one pointing upwards, you know. And it makes so much sense metaphorically that. You're so right, Nishanthi, that you look at others, and if you're judging them, you're judging ultimately yourself, right?
Yeah.
So when
yeah,
you're looking at situations, so what I learned along the way is that witness things without the need to judge. Hey, listen, like, you know, I'm not some Buddhist monk that meditates under the tree, and I am Zen all the time. Far from it. I'm 50 shades of crazy as well, you know, but I've brought that to more of a balance. And you love your crazy side as well, you know.
Yes.
Love all of you. And that's where we
Yes.
come to that centered way of being.
Yes, and isn't it also, for me at least, exactly how you say it, but also that ownership of owning the parts that we do not want to see from ourselves, or that we do not want to claim, because that's difficult to really embrace all aspects. And that's where the alignment and that still point actually comes alive, because there is where it's created. And there is also where you, at least that's what I learned in my journey, will reconnect to the self without, what you say, judgment, but also with compassion. Because only when we feel that love and compassion for self, we can also feel it for the other, because again, it's a mirror. But you go to so many different stages of feelings, but also emotions, right? Before you even start to feel the love for self and compassion, because we still need to do so much cleaning and clearing these blockages that we have been carrying with, like, for such a long time.
Yeah, it's from generation to generation in this life, in many lifetimes before. And it's how we conduct ourselves through the face of adversity. You know, standing tall in the face of adversity is something that I learned to do very quickly from a young age. And, you know, it is these lessons that you learn very quickly and how you respond um, to self. Yeah. How are you sabotaging self as a result of these experiences? Right. And when you actually start evaluating that from an internal plane, things start making sense, because where there's an imbalance, you'll feel it. Things, the frequency of things just don't flow properly, you know? And most importantly, Nishanthi, what I wanted to say earlier on was that having an exuberant spirit and a sense of humor is so important, right? And that's what I feel has got me through the darkest of days, is the sense of humor in it all. You know, I've had some of the darkest things. It's not being disrespectful to those situations, but what can we actually do once they've happened, right? This is the past. The only thing that we have is right now. It's how we are within our energy. Like let me give you an example of what I'm getting at here. You know that in our last show, something like my mind just went all over the place. My head started hurting. Yeah. And I had to say to myself that why is it that that happens in these shows sometimes? Like, why am I being like, why does this disorientation happen? And I started getting stressed out about it, right? Because it just felt really weird and just not normal. I just felt like I was all over the place. And then I just thought, wait, okay, you're doing the things medically, but you're overthinking about it, and it's consuming you. Yeah. So it's going back to that default, oh my God, I don't want to talk in public position, in the public like this, in this position. Right. And it was just a trigger. Something was being triggered. Now there is an issue and I'm dealing with it, but it's powerful how you can disassociate from it very quickly if the mind and the heart is in, you know, in
Right.
collaboration. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like, so what if it happens, right? And I started just neutralizing that charge it had on me. And it's so powerful. Right now, I don't feel that. But, you know, it's no different to what I was feeling that day. Yeah. But it's what you give power to. So never give your power away in any situation. And that's something that I learned the hard way. Giving your power away alters and, what's the word? It completely depletes your energetic field a lot when you're giving your power away. Staying neutral and centered is so important in any situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is
Yeah. And I think people actually, what you're pointing out here, people don't realize how much energy and life force energy you're giving away once you start to depend on the outside worlds, on other people to make you happy or feel good, or other things to unfold, because we can manifest it, all these feelings we already carry within. So manifest it from within and the outside will shift. And
absolutely.
that's exactly it, that when you give your power away depending on other things, you lose full control of who you are, and you can't be in the now. That's
Yeah,
impossible.
yeah. And also, you know, when you humble yourself, this is important. Humility and humbleness. Um, when I started this particular journey, one of the things I came into is almost like a disclaimer that I said is I know nothing, right?
Yes.
I know nothing, and I'm not apologetic for it, right? I know nothing, and I put my hands up and I humble myself to grace and learning. That doesn't mean that I sit there and sort of in an insecure or a lower position where I'm like, oh my God, like, I see myself on par with everyone. We are all the same. My soul recognizes your soul. Thank you for teaching me. Yeah. Thank you for the nuggets of wisdom that I get from a lot of the beautiful souls that I have connected with. I walk away empowered every time, because that is my intention every time. Like today when I was speaking to you last time, and I'm speaking to you today, I was looking forward to speaking to you, because I just felt the energy. I decided, that I'm not going to be affected by any of these things that were affecting me. So it's amazing the power of our spirit and how that can dictate, which way we want our day to go. And having that humbleness, knowing that for me, just me in particular, that not being so strong on the geopolitical side, well, it's like, okay, learn and start talking about it. Start finding out what's going on. Is this important right now? Yes, it is. Only for this window of time, right? For me, screaming about the kids, how long am I going to do it for? Forever? No, absolutely not. But right now, we're in the greatest global awakening humanity's ever seeing. Yeah, things definitely aren't normal, are they? We're all locked globally.
Yeah,
it's not
and
like
they were not normal to begin with because of the world that we were living in. So yeah.
I mean, we were leading up to this. We didn't even realize this hit a lot of people smack in the face. And then, in this 1 year, lockdown, not lockdown, the restrictions, the chaos of it all, the pantomime that we are like enduring. I mean, it's just a bit of a, it's the Benny Hill show. It's just 1 minute this, 1 minute that, and how we maintain ourselves. And I won't lie, and Nishanthi, like about 2 weeks ago, I was just like, being here in the UK, I was missing my days in Cape Town. I was thinking of you because I lived in Cape Town myself on and off for 5 years. And, I thought, how amazing would it be to be in a luxury lockdown where you're like, the greatest luxury and the comfort is nature and being in a beautiful, beautiful city, mother city of Cape Town, for example, and some of these other beautiful places my friends are in. My friend she's in Boracay, Madonna, and she says that she's in the jackpot lockdown, luxury jackpot lockdown, luxury lockdown, because she just lives on the beach. And she goes, it's great because, every morning she goes like on the beach for a walk, you're in Mother Nature, and that really, really helps. The thing that I found testing is being here in the UK for the first time, because it's been horrible weather, raining every day, it's freezing. And this was the first time. For the first time 2 weeks ago, I was like, all right, come on already. And then the sun has been out for the last 3 days and I feel great again.
Yeah. Sunshine has such a big impact. I'm telling you, like last year still, around April, we were one of the first countries to went into full lockdown, right? For like about 6 months, we were not allowed to go outside or whatever. But we are also going into winter. So obviously it's not winter like European winter, but it's still, you've lived here. It's still a complete different vibe and atmosphere.
Oh, the cold, and it's really cold.
Yes, because yes. And you don't have the double isolation and stuff, how I was used to have in Holland, for example. So I hear you that especially nature and sunshine are doing so much. And that's also why if people start to really feel and think for themselves, it's unbelievable that everyone is so obedient to just stay in, to not go outside, to wear a mask and all these things, and to not see people, because that are our basics that we need the most: sunshine, human connection, and nature. And that's exactly what they are cutting us off from. So it's bizarre how people just follow and go with it without I honestly believe once you really start to connect to self, I know because that's for every one of us who does see it and who went through the journey, you will see and feel beyond the duality, because you see and feel beyond the duality within. So your third eye will open and you will start to really, really see, and you will know it. It's coming from a knowing within, because that's the beauty as well. We know all the answers within. We don't need to read a book. We don't need to go to school. We know.
Yeah. And this is this inner knowing. And it's a good point that you raised there, because I could never finish reading a book. I've got loads of books in my room on a really nice, neat bookshelf, and I love looking at it. And I'm like, have you read that? And my friend goes, oh my God, those are great books. And what's this one like? And I went, to be continued, because I've read like the first quarter of it. And then for some reason, it just doesn't resonate, or it's just that I don't have the focus to read. But where am I getting this gnosis from? It's an internal gnosis. It's not from outside noise, because I stopped consuming. So what I mean, I didn't consume the media, the news. It was very weird, because post 2015, when I came back from South Africa, some of the greatest lessons I learned out there. And I came back to the UK like a little bit despondent and sad to have left one of the most beautiful countries in the world. And I started feeling very confused about which way I was going to go. And I lost my train of thought now. What was I saying? See, look, this is what happens. I start thinking about Cape Town.
When you were in Cape Town and you went back to the UK, and
I start thinking of Cape Town, and then I start feeling all nostalgic. This is what happens.
Well, that's what the mother city does to you anyway.
Yeah, well, it's a completely different lifestyle, isn't it? Cape Town and the UK. Anyway, I've forgotten that point, but what you were saying earlier on about, like, just this is a moment where we are all going, on an inner journey, all of us in humanity. And this is the most opportune time for us to really know thyself. Where this is going to go, who knows? Who knows how this is going to really play out? We can listen to all the pundits, we can speculate, we can analyze, we can evaluate. But ultimately, like, do I really know all the answers? I've got my channel, I've got my own show. I speak to beautiful people like yourself. I speak to some of the most amazing souls who are very well researched, who've been in the Truther community for years and years and years. Unless you are in control, do we truly know the accuracy of which way this is going to go? So in the meantime, what do we do? Do we allow it to consume us? Yeah. And, what are we doing? So this is how this whole journey is unfolding every single day for me. Oh, one second. I'm just pausing this. Sorry. I love these non-manicured shows, The postman comes, for delivery. Kenzo goes onto a bit of a crazy spin. He hates anyone ringing the doorbell. Anyway, so sorry about that.
No worries. I think we just lost our train of thought again.
I know. It's great. The energy is so good. It's Cape Town's fault.
Yeah, we were distracted. Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah, where are we picking up now? You were talking about Cape Town and the experience also about leaving and how it was for you to be back in the UK.
Yeah, and I'm trying to like hold on to that thought where it was, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was that I was about to say. But let's take it back to this is going to bug me now, but when it comes back, it comes back. You
will remember, and then we'll go back to it.
Yeah, I will remember. Let's slide into another.
Yes. No. So we were actually talking about the before this about the duality and polarity within, and to just jump a little bit deeper on that, because that also means doing the shadow work. And not shying away from not only having that voice online, but really living it in the collective as well, and standing a stand right there in that now moment. And I think that's also like what many people experience, quite challenging at times, because you're the only odd one out not wearing a mask or getting into the conversation or challenging people with different beliefs or whatsoever. How is that for you?
Yeah, well, this is it. My life taught me that I was always the odd one out in everything that I was doing, like in family, quite bold, outspoken, an extroverted introvert, if that makes sense, you know, defied the status quo, defied rules, defied subordination, very gracefully, not sort of in an antagonized, aggressive way, but it's just my nature, this sort of sense of freedom and independence that I always strive for. And any kind of imprisonment or being stifled or stunted just is too much for me. So the mask represents that for me. It's just shushing me up, and and I need to see people. I need to see their mouth. I need to see their smile when they're speaking. And it was making me really sad initially, but I stood my ground because for one, it created a bit of anxiety, a lot, just wearing it. And I had to wear it when I was in the first two, throughout the lockdown, the first lockdown in the UK. I was volunteering every night to the homeless people in central London. It was so dystopian in central London, and we had to wear it then. And this is before I started speaking publicly. But I used to cry when I had to do it because there was a lot of media and stuff that was there, and they said, you can't volunteer. So then I had to take a call on it to like, do I want to volunteer or do I want to stick to my guns about, you know, not wearing a mask? But anyway, I ended up not wearing it. And then every time I got caught, I'd pretend that, you know, I'd wear it or whatever. But then I realized that I am exempt because of the anxiety it causes. And no one's allowed to tell you here and ask you why you're exempt here under the 2010 disability law. And I didn't realize that. So again, we're always learning so many things. But that's the thing. And it's a good question because it's this energy, this conflicting energy that we are facing within our own social situations with family, be it on a social, professional level. And it's that's the battle. How does that affect me? Again, every month has been a lesson. You're constantly evolving. Initially, I just, with a good sort of mindset and thinking that, you know, humanity will respond in a way where it's like, oh my God, we're finding about the corruption. And that naturally, if I tell my friend XYZ, they're going to be like, oh my God, thank you for telling me. Oh dear, let's work in that unity.
Well, that didn't happen.
Oh my God. And that didn't really happen. And how naive. And along the way, you're like, okay, I'm going to find my feet here. I don't even know what the hell's going on. And then all the rest happens, which is now I don't even sort of think about it or talk about it or allow it to affect me. Did it initially? Of course it did. Losing friends and family, or the nature of that relationship, losing what it was initially did sort of impact me in a way where I was like, a bit solemn, a little bit sad, but we lose nothing in life. Exactly. We come empty-handed. We come in this world empty-handed, and we go. It's the experiences and how we allow those experiences to impact us. Yeah. So that's where I draw. Yeah, that's where I draw back, Nishanthi, to being like an observer to self, like what I will allow and what I won't allow. So it's just cutting these cords, these energetic cords with things in my day-to-day practices and spiritual practices, where I'm like, okay, like did it affect me about my career situation? Initially, yes. But then I felt a sense of like freedom, that now I've got the freedom to do what I really want. And not sort of conditioning myself to limitations.
And that's it again, the choice which you pointed out before already. We all have a free will, we all have a choice, and right now the battle, like you mentioned, like that we're fighting, it's beyond World War III, but it's a battle on our consciousness. It's a war on our consciousness between the darkness and the lights, but it goes so much deeper between the feminine and the masculine within, between yin and yang. And then we could come back ultimately to that duality within and finding that still point. But that choice, that's also the energies that we are facing right now on Earth. You can have different timelines at the same time in a way that I have the same, we have the same experience, but if we're doing the same, but have a different experience. Because I'm in, for example, in the love and compassion, and the other person is still in that fear consciousness. And that's why the polarity is actually becoming bigger at this moment in the collective, because it can play out at exactly the same time.
But that's how this, again, but going back to consumerism, it's consuming outside noise. And the media is the biggest culprits for that. I see the anxiety that my parents were getting in the beginning. Why? Yeah. We work through, like, let's just say we work with our left brain, and then we employ the right brain with the intuitive compass. God, it's a powerful energy. And what I realized with both of my parents, that everything that the news and media was just throwing out was just fear porn. And this is what's been permeating in society. So that's the greatest battle that we're having right now. And it affects how people think, the decisions that they make, because they are acquiescing, they are subordinating to an outside power. And we're doing that, or not now me, but subliminally people are doing that without realizing. But what the problem is the ego gets in the way, where they think they've got control. And it's the ego that we're always battling with on a day-to-day basis. Fear, anger, all of these things. You know, I'm better and or less, or all of these kind of traits and feelings are egocentric or ego-based. Fear is very living in the ego, because, you know, we're giving our power away. And when my aunt died, the whole of their family are really, really, I mean, all of us are really, really sad about the whole thing. For me to actually say, no, I am going to go against this now, without, not because I disrespect what's happened in the family, it's actually seeing the bioweapon of this pandemic of the virus that is being used against humanity, and how it actually personally affected me and my family. It's sad. It's genocide. That's the way I look at it, right? Mm-hmm. Everything, this is a war, and in a war there's going and there's going to be casualties. Now, it's not conforming to a normal war where people think that there's grenades and, you know, shotguns and people are in a battlefield. We're in the battlefield of the mind. This is a war on consciousness. It's a spiritual war, an information war, and then next is a digital war. So what we are putting out there, I mean, I was like a Facebook assassin for a long time. But I loved it. I loved the humor. Donald Trump just makes me laugh. Now, did I live in the mindset that Trump was our savior? Heck no. No, he's a good leader. He's a phenomenal leader. And, you know, we can learn so much from what he embodies as a character, as a person. There was a point where I was like, you're like straight to the point. There's just, he cuts out the bullshit and he goes straight to it. Yeah. And this is what people don't like, because we have been deceived. We have been trained to accept deception. It's very easy to talk the talk, but walking the talk is a different thing.
It's completely different. Yes.
Yeah. I can sit here and give flowery words and everything, but if I'm not following my own truth, this again, it's an imbalance. It's a bipolar way. It's a duality that needs to sort of really become balanced, right? So it's understanding that I don't get it right. I don't really know how this is going to work, but as long as I try it to the best of my ability on a day-to-day basis, is to keep here, not like that, and to stabilize and be in control of myself in an uncontrolled way, if that makes sense. It's just being in that all accepting, all embracing moment, and being in the now. Being in the now.
Yes, and also really looking at all perspectives, not excluding anything, because there's no good or wrong. It's really like embracing everything. So also all the different views, even, and then start to feel and know within, does that resonate or does it not? But don't exclude anything, and that's it. Do the research yourself, go down that rabbit hole, but look at everything, look at all perspectives. So important.
This is now come back. Thank you. That was what I needed to remind me what I was going to say. Now, see, it came back, right? The two most important things, and that I learned coming back from Cape Town, was intention and perception. There was a lot of things that were not working in the trajectory that I had hoped for upon moving out there. I actually hoped to have settled and moved to South Africa. And I came back and I thought, right, well, what was my intention? How was I perceiving things? And a whole host of things before that and thereafter taught me that ultimately it is our intention in what we do and how we conduct ourselves and move forward in life. And are those intentions of integrity, compassion, and love? Exactly. Or is there hidden agendas? Yeah. In everything that we're doing. If we're not congruent with our intention, there's going to be this sort of scattered way of being. And then your perception, you're rightfully said, like in this Truth the Movement, there's a lot of spiritual ego that's going around, and what I call spiritual narcissism, right? And I just sit there, and I'm saying this not in judgment. I say this as a mere observer, and having studied the whole subject of narcissism, it's very evident to me how that is going on within this movement in itself. But, what do? Do I sort of go on a public slandering kind of quest? Absolutely not, because that's something that, doesn't align with my higher self. I just remove myself from the equation. And it's as simple as that. You see, you can take nuggets of wisdom even from your enemy. Yeah. You can take. Yeah, because you're learning, and then it all falls under that umbrella of the crisis, or that bad situation can become your teacher, your wisdom for the future. And be your own guru. We don't need to sort of give our power away to any gurus. We can learn from them. And I love so many of them. One of the favorites was Sadhguru, right? I love Sadhguru, and I love the teachings of Shiva. Am I all into Sadhguru and he's my savior? Absolutely not. I went to the Isha Foundation in Coimbatore in 2018 for the inner engineering program. And it was brilliant. Did I walk in there thinking that's going to solve everything in my life? No. I knew I was a work in progress. We're all whip. We're all whip.
Yes. Work in progress, right? But don't you think so
it's intention perspective.
Yes, and don't you think like one of the biggest illusions that they made us believe for a very long time is the separation of each other from you and me, but also God, and that's it. We are the goddess or the god, and once you feel that and know that, then yeah, you will see the world with a different view. Absolutely. You should never give that power to anyone else. But I think many of us learn that specific lesson through very hard journeys. But we get there. But it's a way to start to embrace that and to really truly see that and embody that as well as the truth.
Well, that's what the sort of fraternity of media has done. False idolship.
Yes.
And that's giving our power away, wanting to be like our favorite pop star or actor or actress, and subliminally or subconsciously like demising ourselves against that, and not feeling good within ourselves, having an impact on our self-worth issues. I don't look good enough. I'm not enough, because the media is, yes, there is a lot of stuff that is helping the mental health area here in the UK. But again, when I look at it, it's all funded by the Prince's Trust, right? So, what is the structure and the schematics of it, and how really is it truly helping? Because it's not still going in on that spiritual plane. So it's this false sense of idolship that, has really been debilitating for humanity, and this need for instant gratification. And in my observation, it's this that actually impact one's mental state. So there is an appreciation for people and humanity, right? And my soul recognizes your soul. And I say this all the time. I remember seeing you and seeing the stuff that you were talking about on your Instagram, and it's your eyes. You've got, your eyes are the window of the soul, and you can see so much. Do I know? Did I know you? Do I know anything about you? No, you've got beautiful eyes. And they spoke a lot. Now, what is that happening for me? And I said, isn't she just an adorable soul? Did I have any personal gain that I needed to do that? Absolutely not. Now, so you see, this is where we falter sometimes, because there's that genuine appreciation, and then there's false flattery. False flattery comes from a place of hidden agendas. Does this make sense? Like,
Yeah,
you can
absolutely.
false flattery, and it can have hidden agendas. And I would smell like BS from a mile off, right? In my life, with things like that would happen. But I would never act upon what the inner antenna is trying to tell me. Now, then there's just like, hey, you're just amazing, and that's all I want to say to you. I have so many people write into me and say the most amazing things. Do I let it kind of like, make me go either here or there? I'll be honest with you. In the beginning, it was like, oh my God, this is a bit overwhelming. But like, I'm very balanced about it, like, about how the impact it has. I'm neither here or there. I'm just humbled all the time. So with this false sense of flattery, with genuine appreciation, it's that gratitude that takes you to a beautiful place, a beautiful plane, where I walk away from this and I'll just be so in this moment, in this now, and feel, wow, that was a great energy. That was a great exchange of, two souls, just sort of sparring with each other and elevating and empowering each other. Again, not from that false plane. So I've definitely seen that in this movement, where I'm just like, I fall in love with people all the time. So it's what is within is what projects out, right?
Yes, but that's when you truly, truly know yourself. You know that everything is a mirror. So what the other is giving back to you is actually a reflection of how you feel within. So if someone is speaking good or bad or whatsoever, it has nothing, initially it has nothing to do like with you, because that's them. So that's the thing. It's with all our relationships, it's with everything in life. Everything is a mirror.
Yeah, it's the cycle of life. We have been everything in the trajectory of our soul.
Yes.
The soul, we don't know what our last script was, what our last soul journey was. This is a meat suit. Yeah, we never die, right? We'll go from one meat suit to the next. Or is this ultimately the mukti, this life? Is this lifetime for me my last? How do I know? But attaining self-actualization, that ultimate liberation, which is moksha, as we say in or mukti in Sanskrit, we just endeavor to do our best every single day for ourselves, not for anyone else.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's also, once you know who you are, once you truly know who you are, then the rest won't impact you or affect you in any way any longer, because it doesn't matter, because I know my words, I know my voice, I know what I'm standing for, and that's it. And we lead by example. So by just being you and the authentic self and the feeling of belonging, that you just know that you matter, that's what I wish for everyone to feel, because then you really stand in your power and you start to embody more and more light to shine that radiant light, because that's what we are. We are infinite beings of light, and we are now embodying more and more of these beautiful incoming energies.
Yeah, and absolutely. And on a final note, just to say that is it in one sentence: authenticity is your superpower.
Yes.
Authenticity is ultimately your superpower. Know thyself.
Yes, and we need much and much more in this world. Many beautiful souls stepping up, claiming their truths, claiming their stage, and stepping into their authenticity. Because that's it. That's really it. And then create.
Really yeah. well, look, this has been beautiful, Nishanthi. Thank you so much. And yeah, it's just let's see how things pan out for the rest of this year.
Yes.
It's been a great energy to exchange with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you as well for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.